No, 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 no. I, yes, I did say I will use that song for an intro, but I was just kidding. I can't play that song on YouTube. Why? First of all, copyright infringement, and the lyrics of that song will probably get me kicked off YouTube. Sorry. Sorry, folks. Production team. Okay, let's work on another song. Until then, let's let her rip. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Wrestling Gold Friday Night. I am your host, Ronald Ray. You're a boy with a cornbread accent. Let me go ahead and apologize for being a little lazy this week. It is Independence Day holiday week, so I'll take a couple of days off and didn't do the live stream yesterday. But actually, this show does feel like more of a vacation because the show is fun. Actually, all my shows are pretty fun, but like I said, need a little rest and relaxation. Uh, anyway, hopefully everybody had a fun, safe Independence Day holiday. Uh, Hopefully everybody had fun shooting off fireworks. I'm pretty sure some of you are still shooting off fireworks because guess what? My neighbors has been shooting fireworks off since Monday night. So yeah, that happens like every. Am I the only one, or is this does this happen like every town or every neighborhood or whatever? If it's a holiday week starting that Monday or Sunday night or something like that, people say if the holiday falls on a Thursday, does everybody start shooting fireworks? The previous Saturday, Sunday, Monday night to the Thursday holiday and Fridays and all through the weekend. Uh, if not, you're lucky because that's the way my neighbors do it. Which, like I said, today don't mind too much because I don't have to go to work tomorrow. Thank goodness. But when you gotta go work on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday morning, that kind of gets annoying. And also, I got to get up early Monday morning. Actually, to head to Lake Park, Georgia. Uh, so anyway, yes, this is Wrestling Gold Friday night. If you're out there and watching me live, join me in the chats. Give me a hello and how you doing. I will give you a hello and how you doing right back. If you watch this on the replay, again, just put in the comments. Give me a hello if you want to, or just give me your opinions on any of the stuff we discussed this evening. Also, if you're entertained by this, hit that like button. It does help. And big kicker here, the one thing that helps out the best is you would be in a champ and clicking on that subscribe button. Anyway, let's see. Nobody in the chat so far. Uh, I don't expect too many people to be, but I'm just sitting here having fun doing it because I know it's a holiday. I didn't think, especially yesterday anyway or last night. For sure, everybody's too busy going out, enjoying the fireworks and cooking out, having a good time and stuff like that. So uh, I don't think anybody missed last night's show too much. I'm pretty sure today's probably gonna be the same thing. or this evening's gonna be the same thing. Everybody's gonna be out cooking out, but definitely want to starting to get a little bit of rhythm here. I'm not breaking any kind of barriers or anything, but having a few more people watch than usual. So I want to kind of keep that up. So I was like, okay, I can go ahead, probably dip a little on the Raw and Dynamite recaps and take a little vacation day from the live stream, but need to get back to it here because we got goals here somewhat or trying to act like we'll have some goals here. So yes, I'm back here tonight, and I think we got a premium live event tomorrow, Money in the Bank. So I'm definitely gonna watch that. Probably have a recap show of that come Sunday. So uh, definitely check that out. And like I said, today is uh, July 5th, and let's get into this day in wrestling history here. All right. First things first. Oh, pop off the notes here. There we go. All right. On this day in 1974, Buddy Colt defeated Mr. Wrestling 2 to win the NWA Georgia title that took place in Atlanta at the Municipal Auditorium. Uh, Somebody in the chat probably remembers if when the Omni was built. This might have been a little for. I know wrestling took place at the Municipal Auditorium for the longest time until the Omni was built, and I kind of started venturing to the Omni because it held a little bit more people. I believe 16 to 20,000 for wrestling. Um, that's what the Omni will hold. But before the Omni, they they held it at the Municipal Auditorium in Atlanta, and a lot of wrestling history took place there. Um, Anyway, on this day in 1975, the Sheik defeated Bobo Brazil for the Detroit version of the U.S. Championship. This will be the Sheik's eighth uh, U.S. title win. So, or started his eighth reign as U.S. champion. Of course, this was his territory and everything else. So, um, Bobo Brazil, legend in his business as well. Had long-standing feuds with the Sheik in Detroit. Had the had the Bobo butt, the headbutt that would lay everybody out. Of course, the Sheik is famous for the fire and being the uncle of Sabu. Let's see here. What else? But yeah, he was uh, wasn't a lot of African American wrestlers back then, and Bobo Brazil, one of the first of there. Hello, Brenda Watson. Um, and was a big star, top baby face. And like I said, that headbutt of his would lay everybody out. Anyway, on this day in 1982, in Memphis, Tennessee, at the Mid South Coliseum, drawing 7,908 people. Got to see Bobby Eaton pin Paul Fergie, who was Jerry Lawler's cousin, who was also a referee. If you watched the UWF one, he was a referee in the UWF. Interesting thing here, we had Ron Bass and Stan Lane defeat Norville Austin and Dennis Condrey, who was known as two-thirds of the Midnight Express. Yes, in case you've forgotten, I haven't mentioned lately that the original Midnight Express was Dennis Condrey, Randy Rose, and Norville Austin, kind of a three-man team there. Usually, what was called the Freebird rule. Any when they won tag team titles, any two to three was able to defend those. This time, of course, it was Dennis Condrey and Norville Austin. But the interesting thing about it, especially with that name, the Midnight Express, later on, of course, everybody knows that Dennis Condrey would team up with Bobby Eaton, who earlier that night defeated Paul Fergie. Uh, but when they went to Mid South, Bill Watts put Condrey, Eaton together, gave them a manager, the legendary Jim Cornette, called it the Midnight Express, and I think that's how the conversation started. It's like, well, what when Bill Watts like, hey, what should we call you? And uh, Dennis said, well, me, Randy Rose, and Orville Austin was the Midnight Express. Bill Watts like, good, because we got the Rock and Roll Express. Rest is history on that part. And another interesting part about this is later on that when Dennis took a sabbatical, they replaced Dennis Contra with Stan Lane. And of course, they became very decorated tag team champions, first tag team in NWA history to win whole at one time, U.S. Tag and the World Tag Team titles simultaneously. Of course, having to give up the United States Tag Team Championship. Also that night, we had Bill Dundee defeat Sweet Brown Sugar, who was Coco Beware, in a Coal Miners Club match. Southern champion Kamala defeated Steve Kern. Of course, Steve Kern, Stan Lane were the fabulous ones. So this was a little before that. Dutch Mantel, bad mother, you know what? Defeated King Cobra for the Mid American title in a no DQ match. Jerry Lawler defeated Iron Sheep via countout in a no DQ match to earn a match with Jimmy Hart. Of course, Jerry Lawler will beat Jimmy Hart via disqualification in a lumberjack match. All right, here. On this date in 1986, we had the Great American Bash in Charlotte, North Carolina, Memorial Stadium, drawing 23,000 people. That's a big chunk of people there. Opening match, of course, was NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion Denny Brown. Uh, went went the distance, went to Broadway with Mr. Electricity Steve Regal, not to be confused with Lord Stephen Regal or William Regal. For him, it was a guy named Mr. Electricity Steve Regal. Good worker too. I think the second person I seen use that corkscrew elbow that Buddy Landell did. Other matches on that night was Robert Gibson and Black Bart, or Robert Gibson pinned Black Bart. Ole and Arn Anderson defeated Sam Houston and Nelson Royal. Manny Fernandez pinned Baron Von Raschke in a bunkhouse match. Wahoo McDaniel defeated Jim Garvin in an Indian strap match. Ron Garvin defeated Tully Blanchard in a take fist match. The Road Warriors Hawk and Animal defeated Iva and Nikita Koloff in a Russian chain match. Jimmy Valiant pinned Shasta Watley in a hair versus hair match. That made now Shasta Watley a bald-headed geek. Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, and Baby Doll defeated the Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton, Dennis Condrey with Jim Cornette in a steel cage match. Also in a steel cage match, NWA World Champion Ric Flair defeated Ricky Morton in a steel cage match. Joe King, what's up? What's up? No, we're not going to do the Ron Killings what's up deal because I don't know. I can't hit a what's up back. Also on this date in 1986, Showtime, the cable movie channel, aired WrestleMania 2. Do definitely remember this fondly. I forgot. I guess we had a little family gathering. My older brother, was married at the time, and I can't remember if any of his kids were born yet. But he was anyway. He was married, and they had Showtime. Of course, we didn't have any cable because where we were living at the time didn't we didn't have cable there. There was no cable in the area we lived at. So of course, my brother said, "Oh, Showtime's going to air, or WrestleMania 2," and of course I'm like, "Ooh!" And of course, my dad looked at my brother and said, "Hey, record that for him." So my brother did record WrestleMania 2 for me. Gave me the tape, and I think I wore that VHS tape out. So VHS kids, uh, Google it. VCRs you can record on these. You record programs off TV using a VCR and a VHS tape. So anyway, anything else? Go ahead and Google it. And of course, WrestleMania 2 had the main event: King Kong Bundy versus Hulk Hogan in a steel cage match. I actually do have a episode of Classic Wrestling Reminiscing, uh, featuring WrestleMania 2. So I might just give me a few minutes, and I'll share the link up here. Let's see if I can do it now. Can't do it right now. Remind me uh, after the watch along. Uh, Plug it up or get the wait, get the link, and I'll share the link in the chat later for my episode of Classic Wrestling Reminiscing featuring WrestleMania 2. Actually, pretty good. Um, WrestleMania 2, a little. After watching it a second time, it was like at my age now, it's kind of like, this wasn't as good as I remembered it. Anyway, all right, move along here. On this date in 1992 in Atlanta, Georgia, the Miracle Violence Connection, Terry Gordy and Steve Williams. Of course, if you watch ECW, a lot of people like to call these guys Doc and Gordy. Doc and Gordy. Of course, Doc being Steve Dr. Death Williams. Anyway, they defeated the Steiner brothers to win the WCW World Tag Team Championship. And of course, this is at the Atlantis Omni in 1992. On that same event, though, the legendary late great Brad Armstrong defeated Scotty Flamingo for the WCW Light Heavyweight Championship. Interesting thing about that, Armstrong would be the last guy to hold that championship. A knee injury sidelined him, and following a match in Japan against Great Muta. A few weeks later, Armstrong was stripped of that championship. Tournament was announced and all that. Of course, I think this is Bill Watts was there. He was the vice president, whatever, and I think he was slowly being maneuvered out. Uh, I mean, obviously, Bill Watts there. That's how he got Doc and Gordy, Steve Williams and Terry Gordy come in. So he's made some changes, and go back and watch WCW at the time. Even though there was that stupid thing about the off the top rope move. I get it. Even as a fan, he's a as a fan, when I rewatched it, I'm like, ugh, that sucked. But he removed the mats off the floor. Um, this stuff like if you hit your opponent in a post, automatic disqualification. Made Ole Anderson the senior official, senior referee. Uh, but his shows were during that run was pretty exciting, pretty good stuff. Like I said, with the exception of the top rope rule, and of course it was 1992, and I think all of wrestling was kind of like on this ass end there. But anyway, September that year, Armstrong was stripped. Tournament was announced, but after the change from Bill Watts to, I guess that's when Eric Bischoff came in, or kind of the committee. Then Bischoff came in. Um, they eliminated the light heavyweight championship, but later on, what too much? What maybe four? Let's see, 3 or 4 years later, they came out with a cruiserweight championship. So, and that was probably one of the best parts of Nitro during that time was the undercard. Of course, the cruiserweight division and WCW. Uh, During the Nitro Monday Night Wars, you had Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, and all that. Another conversation at another time. All right. On this date in 1994, jury selection began for the Vince McMahon federal steroid trial. Uh, the man was indicated indicted in November 1993 on 2 counts of steroid distribution, 1 count of conspiracy to distribute steroids. This came after Dr. George Zahorian, then a ringside physician working for the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission, was convicted of 12 counts of distributing and selling steroids in 1993. Uh, Zahorian was the first man convicted on such charges after stricter stricter regulations took effect in 1988 to some 40 wrestlers and bodybuilders. Um, if a man was convicted, which we all know he wasn't convicted of that, he would have faced 11 years in federal prison, $1.5 million in fines. Um, a recap of the first day, as presented in the New York Times the next day. The trial will last 2.5 weeks. Among those who took the stand on the trial was Hulk Hogan, who had just recently signed with WCW, and Kevin Walkolt, who had previously had a Kevin Kelly, who had previously had a stint with the company as Nails. Nails infamously admitted an oath that he hated Vince McMahon. He still held a grudge from McMahon, only giving him $8,000 for his match at SummerSlam '92. That's where he would later assault McMahon and was fired. Of course, the defense, McMahon's defense, painted Nails as a bitter ex-employee and may have played a part in McMahon ultimately being acquitted on all charges later that month. So, yep, your fault. Your fault, Nails. Just kidding. Let's see here. But yeah, the man's lawyer, he was a crafty dude. Go back and watch the Dark Side of the Ring about the steroid trial. That was a okay episode, but you do see how good my man's lawyer was. So I don't think he's. I think that lawyer's retired now. I think. Anyway, by the way, how's my sound out there? Do y'all hear like any kind of background noise or anything? Any kind of bad echoes or anything? Um, I made a couple of changes here, so making sure everything kind of sounds better. Hopefully, let's see. All right, now that question is out of the way. Give y'all time to answer that. As I talk about the last thing here, on this date in 1999. Good. So you don't hear any kind of background noise or anything, like any kind of background scratching noises. Because I know this. All right, cool. Yeah, because I know sometimes this cord would I can hear it every time I do stuff, but I think I was watching. Well, I was watching one of mine and or rewatching it kind of and noticed that I heard a little thing and or my a cord kept scratching and everything. So hopefully I adjusted everything on here good enough to where everything sounds great. Uh, besides me talking. Anyway, back on history. Today in wrestling history, on this date in 1999, WCW presented Nitro from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia. 25,338 were in attendance, but only 19,500 actually paid. Of course, 1999, this is when the steep decline in WCW was starting to take place. Uh, in the show's main event, WCW World Champion Kevin Nash defeated Sid Vicious via disqualification. On that same show, Scott Steiner is stripped of the WCW United States Championship and is awarded to David Flair. You want to know why? That was in decline. This was actually the last wrestling event at the Georgia Dome until WrestleMania 27, I believe. Uh, this show also featured a live performance by Megadeth and the return of Bill Goldberg, who had been off television since going to a no contest with Sting at Slamboree. The show's finish inspired the Botchamania meme, Sin for the Man. The unannounced return of Goldberg does little to turn the tide in the Monday Night Wars. That week's Raw, headlined by The Rock defeating Triple H in a steel cage match, and the Hardys winning their first WWF Tag Team title win, beats now Nitro 6.2 to 3.3. So yeah, not not saying WCW didn't try, but sometimes When you're doing stuff like stripping Scott Steiner just to work with David Flair, eh, sometimes not saying AEW wouldn't do this, but I don't think they would. But um, it just didn't really make sense at the time. A lot of stuff that they were doing at the time didn't really make sense, so um, that's why they declined. When you when you don't have anything kind of interesting, and you killed off Goldberg when they let Kevin Nash beat him the first time, even though Scott Hall interfered, whatever. Uh, he was believe it or not, he was a draw. Uh, I remember there was a newspaper article at the time. Bill Goldberg was at the mall of, not the mall of Georgia Square Mall in Athens, um, and the place was wrapped around the building, just trying to get a chance to meet Bill Goldberg. Of course, Bill Goldberg played football for the University of Georgia, and also was an Atlanta Falcon. But good college player, but didn't do much in the pros, so he became a pro wrestler. That's how they did it back in the good old days. Even way before then, I think. Um, yeah, I wouldn't say he was the last one, but there's a lot of them that did that. Tried, you know, pros or people like Ernie Ladd and Wahoo McDaniel. They played pro football and was good at it, but yet they would make more money because they weren't making the money they were today. So they would supplement their income by getting into pro wrestling. And eventually they kind of realized, like, look, I make more money in pro wrestling than I can playing football. So um, they stuck with pro wrestling. But anyway, that does it for this week's Today in Wrestling History. Not the show yet, not the show yet. We got a interesting, well, I guess somewhat interesting little watch along here. We're going to have Southwest Championship Wrestling from, I believe, 1982. Yes, August 7th, 1982 uh, is when I believe this thing was done. Of course, Southwest Championship Wrestling was ran by Joe Blanchard. Joe Blanchard, of course, the father of Tully Blanchard. You had stars like the Montgomery Stomper, Tully Blanchard, Chino Hernandez, Bob Sweetpan. Um, Not sure who all we're going to see today, but because I haven't watched this episode quite yet, but we shall watch it together. And I actually did a look at finally looked it up, seeing what all the libraries WWE own. Of course, I took the Cliff Notes, or as some people call it, Wikipedia. Um, and I finally, got a list here of all the uh, video libraries that they own. Uh, let's see, they own AWA from 1933 to 91. They share that with ESPN. Georgia Championship Wrestling from 1944 to 84. ECW 1992 to 2001. Memphis Championship Wrestling. Memphis Championship Wrestling was like a um, developmental territory at the time, but only for like a year. Ohio Valley Wrestling, which was the developmental territory that a lot of people came from, Cena, Orton, Batista. Uh, they own their video library from 99 to 2008. Of course, Al Snow owns it now. I think 2008 when uh, they moved everything to Florida, the performance started building the performance center and all that. Deep South Wrestling, of course, they only had there for 2 years. This was just a developmental territory, Deep South, not the 80s Deep South Wrestling. Both, of course, owned by Jody Hamilton or ran by Jody Hamilton. The original Deep South was owned by Jody Hamilton, the assassin. Of course, I guess Vince thought it'd be a good idea to bring Jody, the assassin along, and due to developmental territory. Uh, Unfortunately, lasted only 2 years. Kingston, Xavier Woods came from there. Actually, Kenny Omega actually wrestled for Deep South for a while. He was on a developmental territory. Let's see, Florida Championship Wrestling from 2007 to 2012. Of course, that was the before Florida Championship Wrestling before came NXT. Heartland Wrestling Association. That was what was his name? Almost like I tell you, it was ran by Les Thatcher, um, or it was ran by it was started by Les Thatcher. Uh, then they made it to developmental territory. Don't think it's around. Yeah, it closed its doors in 2015. Of course, you know they stopped being developmental territory in 2003. Smoky Mountain Championship Wrestling from 92 to 95. Stampede from 48 to 2008. Global Championship or Global Wrestling Federation, excuse me, from 1991-94, shared with ESPN. World Championship Wrestling, 1988 to 2001. However, there's a lot of stuff that uh, Ted Turner, WCW owned, thanks to when Jim Crockett started buying territories. So you got on all the stuff that WCW owned at the time. Of course, there was Jim Crockett Promotions, Central States Wrestling from 1948 to 1986, Championship Wrestling from Florida from 1949 to 1987, Championship Wrestling from Georgia 84 to 85. That was after the Black Saturday. Ole Anderson tried to keep NWA in Georgia, and instead of being Georgia Championship Wrestling, because Vince McMahon thought that, he came out with Georgia Championship Wrestling, which still had a little bit of a time slot on PBS. And of course, Universal Wrestling Federation from 1950s to 1987, Tri-State, um, Mid South, UWF, World Class Wrestling, Maple Leaf Wrestling, Maple Leaf Wrestling. Was that Frank Tunney? Uh, let's see. And yes, uh, that's another promotion. I think it was or they worked with Jim Crockett, but they didn't. Crockett and WCW didn't own that library. Ultimate Pro Wrestling, I think that's a promotion where John Cena got started. World Wrestling Council, 1973 to 2018. So when we had that, we I didn't know this, so we got kind of lucky when we had that watch along with the World Wrestling Council in Puerto Rico, and uh, I don't think I got any kind of copyright hits on that one. I think all the copyright hits I got on that one was the beginning music, which maybe delete that one, delete the original intro, and did this one, which I think I need to put the Ric Flair song on there too. So Evolve, Dragon Gate USA, and International Championship Wrestling. This was the um, promotion owned by Angelo Poffo, uh, who is the father of Randy Savage and Lanny Poffo. So, damn, I didn't know Vince owned. That's I didn't know Vince owned that too. I guess that was the when I imagine that was sold to him by Lanny Poffo. I guess when Randy Savage got put in the Hall of Fame. So, all right here. So, like I said there, so there was no WWE does not own Southwest Championship Wrestling, so we can watch it, or we can do it old fashioned way. We can I can just play it on here, and we can all watch together instead of doing the countdown BS. So that we get a little bit of break from that, but at least now I know which ones I can watch. Uh, and give me some ideas of what to check out later on. Since we can do either way, I can play it on here, or we can do the click the leak thing, countdown, click the leak thing. But yeah, it should be fun. Let's see. So yeah, this week we're watching Southwest. Um, so maybe next week we'll watch some AWA. Anybody want to watch some AWA next week? That's next week now, not this week. Think about that one. But anyway, speaking of watch along, let's start with this week's watch along and Southwest Championship Wrestling. Like I said, this is from. Oh, all right, there's your list. Yeah, share the screen here. We can't do that no more. Did it once or twice, but no, they told me block me from that one. If I do get, if I am back on, let me know. Uh, I guess I'm still recording here. Anyway, that's off, so can't use that. All right, can you see me? Am I back on? Okay, I'm back on here. Yep. Cool. Okay. Guess we can't do that no more. So yeah, it's gonna be.
Keep hurting people. I'm gonna have to keep beating people. I'm gonna have to do something.
Guess we're gonna have to do the 1, 2, 3 go thing here. Let's see here. There's the link. I do apologize for that. I guess we can't do that one no more. Um, wow. Anyway, all right. When everybody's ready to go, I'll start the count off. So yeah, if you don't know why I'm kind of confused right now, I just found out I was offline. Uh, so yes, try to use the old-fashioned way. Use somebody else's. So I do apologize. Didn't use it without permission. So sorry about that. So so if y'all ready for the countdown, we'll try this again. Anybody out there? Hello. But yeah, that this share the link up. Just telling when y'all ready, and uh, we'll do the countdown and press play at the same time. Yay! That went all my cocaine jokes. Gosh. Shoot. All right. Ready? 1, 2, or 3, 2, 1. Press play now. Okay. That's another thing I gotta make sure. I gotta make sure the sound is off on here because anyway, yeah, I think that's Tyler Conway Jr. Big Bruiser Brody. They love their drop kicks in their promos here or their intro here or showcasing everybody. So showcasing everybody doing drop kicks. And that's Tully Blanchard. I think that's young Terry Allen, aka Magnum TA. And supposedly, according to Baby Doll, they really did not like each other. So if you did, quote from Baby Doll, if you did watch one of their matches on video, whatever, and you actually heard smack, 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 that wasn't no thigh slapping. That's them really smacking the crap out of each other.
We've got a great lineup for you today. The dynamic duos here, Bob Sweetan, the Girls, the Mongolian Stomper, and more. Ladies and gentlemen, the Southwest Tag Team Champions, and I guess.
And there you go. They're a dynamic duo, Tully Blanchard and Gino Hernandez. I'm pretty sure they done. How many lines do you think they done snorted before that promo there? I'd probably say probably like one or two.
You can talk about how bad Lucas is hurt or whatever, but I tell you,
maybe Gino did 3 or 4.
It was a big match in Houston, Texas last week. Southwest Tag Team title. Ken Lucas, Ricky Morton against the dynamic duo Gino Hernandez, Tully Blanchard.
That is a couple talented guys out there. Tully Blanchard and Gino Hernandez.
How much punishment they can dish out and how much the dynamic
and Tully Blanchard would have been in this year if you see like I was better as a heel. I can piss people off better than I can make them happy.
As I guess last week on television, we literally tore the heart out of Ken Lucas because when the going got tough, you definitely faltered because the belts are back where they belong. We're not the new champions. We're the true champions. We've always been the champions. And as you can see on the tape, like he said, they came at us with everything, and we still walked out of the ring with the belts. I'd like to say, let's don't hear about Lucas and Morton no more, because you don't have a partner anymore, Ricky Morton. Ken Lucas, retire. Go back and find another profession because you can't put a sleeper on with one arm. Steve Stack, why don't you do your job and introduce that tape we brought?
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to take you now to Mr. Peter Burkholz at the Sam Houston Coliseum in Houston, Texas for the Southwest Tag Team Championship match.
So, like I explained before, usually this is what territories would do. They'll have their studio or wherever they did their TVs, but they would show the arena shows or a match from the arena shows to show you how somebody lost the titles and stuff like that. And of course, I think this is. I think they explained a while ago that this was the third fall in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
This is the third and final fall. It's a 60-minute time limit, so we have plenty of time left.
And this, of course, a
Gino staying after Ricky Morton.
A pre-Rock and Roll Express Ricky Morton here, and he's teaming up with a guy named Ken Lucas. And in Ricky Morton's interviews, he gave Ken Lucas a lot of credit for teaching him how to be that pure white meat babyface, get that fire, make that comeback, sell, and get that sympathy and stuff like that. Draw heat.
That's trying to come so close to winning back the Southwest Tag Team belts, which they love so much. Tag Gino comes in. You see how the teamwork is playing an important role.
In case I can't tell, I'm not good at
just
because sitting in one place for a long time.
Inside the ropes. Backdrop by Gino. Gino going back
and this is his finisher, the big elbow from the top rope, but he missed it.
He was aiming for Morton's throat. It was the move that won the second fall. It could be the move that's going to cost him the match because Gino
hot
is
tag.
hurt.
Fans are going to come out. Can't really hear.
And try to turn this match around. And Lucas is fired up. So are the fans here in the Coliseum. As Lucas now stayed after Tully chomping down on him. A lot of bad blood between Lucas and Morton against Gino and Tully. And a lot of pride on the line. Not to mention the Southwest Tag Team title and belts. And Tully now.
I do believe Tully's got
is
some
cut
color
open,
there.
and Lucas is going right after it with those pinpoint
Yep.
blows of his.
And this kind of
And
would make
Tully is
sense. I mean,
caught
of
in a
course,
bad
this is
way. Gino
80s
still
wrestling. They,
caught in a bad
did a
way.
lot of
And
color,
things
a
are
lot
starting
of
to look up for
blading,
Lucas and
choosing, whatever you
Morton.
want to call it.
He tags Morton,
Red
and
versus,
Morton
or
is
red
fresh.
turns to
Morton
green.
is ready to pick up where Lucas
And
left
this
off.
kind of makes sense too. It's like,
And as the
okay,
fans get
Ken Lucas
louder,
just bit at his
it
head, kept
charges
punching at his head. So
Lucas
yeah,
and Morton up
if you
even
actually
to
punch somebody,
greater heights.
punch them in the
As
head, they would
Ricky
actually
has got Tully, he's
start
setting him
bleeding
up
from
and
the
an
head.
elbow trying to catch Tully. Now Morton coming up and drops on top of Tully. We could have
See,
a match.
they,
We
I
got
mean,
Ricky on top. We got two, but
came
no
down with a fist drop,
So
hit somebody in the
close,
head,
but
and
no
it's
third
actually sold the
count.
hand. It's like, ow, that kind of fucking hurts.
Morton tags Lucas, and Lucas comes in as they start to display their own tag team skills and talents. Lucas saw Gino leaning into the ring and couldn't resist the opportunity to belt him one. And Lucas has got a mean way of holding that side headlock and popping him with that fist.
And I think from Southwest, Ricky would go back to Memphis and team with Eddie Gilbert.
Tully is still stunned from the punishment he's taken, and we came very close to having the third count. They came very close to tagging Gino, and Lucas wants to do everything he can to prevent allowing Tully out of this predicament. Morton's anxious to come in. They tag legally, and Morton now sees if he can find the solution to putting Tully to the mat for third count. He found a solution in stopping Tully from tagging Gino. Gino's got a concerned look on his face. He knows his partner and good friend Tully is in trouble. Gino knows that he's got to get inside the ring, and there it is. That tag that brings in Gino, but Morton was right for him. Ricky Morton charges right into Gino with the same fired up spirit that he was charging into Tully. And that one up to the midsection does a lot of good for Morton and a lot of...
And don't let Gino do a good
Gino
job
now.
hiding the fact that he's bleeding
Lucas
at that
picking
time.
up on Gino. Ricky Morton is the legal man inside the ring.
And of course,
And
he probably trying to make it look like he was checking himself, make sure he wasn't bleeding.
And as Gino lays battered against the turnbuckle, Morton and Lucas are successfully.
Of course, Gino, that's part of his character too. He very much cared about what his face looked like.
Gino tried to one up but couldn't hit.
Yeah, like I said, Gino did a good job behind the fact that he was bleeding there. But nevertheless, I mean, you did get to see him deliver a promo, see him as a little bit of ring work. Could have been a big star in Crockett. I know there was questions coming around at one time, would he have made a good horseman after Ole Anderson had left and, instead of getting replaced by Lex Luger, but I think at the time there was like a lot of money tied up in Lex Luger, so.
Tough thing for Gino to take. Morton hit him with a solid blow.
Nevertheless, though, but
and a good close-up shot.
I mean, he could, do his own. He didn't have to be with the Four Horsemen. I think he'd been a good Four Horseman. I mean, he could have easily had Flair World Champion, Arn TV Champion, or US Champion, and Tully and Gino continuing being the dynamic duo and win tag belts. Or, Tully Arn tag, and Gino was a pretty decent singles wrestler too. I mean,
and Morton was ready for Tully.
If he had lived, that's fine.
I tell you, a lot of respect for this Ricky Morton. The way he can bounce back so quickly, and the way he throws a drop.
If he didn't, die from a drug overdose and all that, and left World Class, went to Jim Crockett. Not sure WWE. He was.
Morton and Lucas goes for the sleeper.
Got that sleeper hold.
As he pours it to Tully.
They got locked in pretty good there. Second ref, is he tapping? Okay, they didn't tap at the time. Orton
Morton
cut
stopped
Gino
Gino.
off.
Lucas
Oh, come on,
continuing
ref.
to
He's
pour
just
to
trying to
Tully.
pay attention.
Referee Nick Kozak trying to
Oh, Gino put
pour,
something
and
on his
Gino
tights
looked like he got something.
and knocked him out.
It looked like Gino got something.
Now,
And
notice this
what
right
in the
here.
world
Notice
was
how a lot of
Lucas?
people
It
do
looked like
today. If they
Gino
hit somebody
dug a
with
bush
a
for Lucas,
object,
and Lucas is
brass
still
nut,
down.
whatever,
The winners of the third
ring,
fall in the match,
that
7
or
minutes, 19
roll of quarters,
seconds.
whatever.
Tully Blanchard
Uh,
and gorgeous
the other
Gino
wrestler will pick the
Hernandez.
opponent up and
So
still
Gino and
hit
Tully
their
will once
finisher, then
again
pin
the
the person.
Southwest Tag Team
Doesn't need
Champions.
that. If
The
that person's
fans are
knocked
Ladies and
out
gentlemen,
from
and now
the
for a
object, just
ring inside
roll
the
them over. That's how
Coliseum.
you get more heat. I mean, I don't
They're
know if
protesting
it's
that
an ego
Gino
thing. It's like, no,
did something on
I got
Lucas.
to pin this person with my
Referee Nick
finisher. I can't,
Kozak didn't catch it. The new tag
even
team
though I'm the
champions,
heel,
gorgeous Gino and
I'm
Tully
trying to get heat
Blanchard,
here. I can't
and a
make people think
controversial, hotly
I can't
disputed
win with my
decision to
finisher,
say the least.
or have make people think I had
We'll
to
get back
use an
with more
object or
wrestling action
whatever,
after
or
this
have
word from
somebody
the
come in to
studio.
use an object. But like I said, that's all you
Ladies
needed.
and gentlemen, before we go to the ring
Oh,
for our
Mr.
next
Pile
match, the
Driver
man who is
Bob
scheduled to be
Sweetman.
in the ring for that match,
I heard he's a
Mr.
real
Pile
POS.
Driver Bob Sweetan,
But
and
anyway,
he'll be taking
that's
on El Santo
that's all you
Negro.
really
But
needed. It
I
was
know
this,
you've been having a lot on your mind here,
object,
Mr.
crawl,
Sweetan, and it
roll
has to
over,
do with
put an arm on them
why you do not
or
get any
something. 1, 2,
shot
3, because
at
they're
the
knocked
Southwest
out.
Heavyweight
This is the
And
most
Championship.
people
ridiculous
think
thing in the
they're
world.
knocked out.
I've got one of the best records in the country. I've hurt a lot of people. I've beat a lot of people, but it seems to be impossible to get a title match with the Stomper. Carson seems to be evading the question. The only thing I can see is I'm going to have to keep hurting people. I'm going to have to keep beating people. I'm going to have to do something to get this man in order to make him sign a title match, because that's what I want and I feel capable. I don't think there's anybody around that's going to give Stomper a go for his money except me, and I'm going to do it. The first chance. I think your time is up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I meant to tell
Oh,
you
that's
was,
not. That's something you don't want to do, Mister.
let me tell you something. Don't you ever put your hands on me again. You
Now, Don
understand
Carson, he
that?
was a
Don't
professional
ever
wrestler. I
put your
think
hands
he did
on me
most of
again.
his work in
You
as a
understand?
professional wrestler
Don't ever do it again.
in Tennessee,
Oh,
Gulf
Don
Coast
Carson, the
Wrestling.
measure,
Where you use a loaded
coming
glove
out here, and
called
I got a
peanut
match
butter.
coming up. I'm going to take care of this.
oh,
But then he
Bob
got
Sweetan,
managing.
yeah,
Then he went back,
Don
kind
Carson
of back
came
and
out
forth
here.
wrestling
Sweetan
too.
grabbed him. Carson went running back to the dressing
Would
room.
manage,
Now
the
let's join the ring
Stomper and
announcer, Marky
Abdullah the
Martinez,
Butcher
for
and
the
all that.
introduction to this
Actually,
match.
did some managing and wrestling in Georgia as well.
For your next match of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, one fall, 15-minute time limit. In the right corner, weighing in at 285 pounds, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Mr. Pile Driver, Bob Sweetan. In the left corner, weighing in at 226 pounds, from Guadalajara, Mexico, El Santo Negro. Your referee, Jack House.
Well, Sweetan starts in a hurry.
But
Some
yeah,
punching and some
Sweetan,
forearms. He puts El Santo Negro in a corner and throws
lots
him
of
across
success
the
in
ring.
the
El Santo Negro up for a drop
the
kick.
tri-state
El Santo
wrestling
Negro going for
territory,
another
the
drop kick.
Louisiana
This one he
territory,
misses on Sweetan.
and
Starts ring.
Southwest territory.
Sweetan with a big boot. And El Santo Negro.
The
Punch to
heel
the side of the
babyface.
face.
Either way,
Forearm to the back.
of course, as you can tell, his finisher move is the
Out
pile driver. Oh, and by the way,
Mongolian Stomper, the
this match is
Southwest
over because
Heavyweight
there's some
Champion is in
Mongolian
the ring
stomper,
against Bob Sweetan.
Archie Goldie.
Carson is out on the apron. Sweetan going into the Stomper. Ladies and gentlemen, the Stomper is interfering in the match. Sweetan's got him up for a power driver, and this Carson, there's the black glove. There's the black glove we told you about. Carson had it. Now, the Mongolian Stomper
So
has the
there's
black glove.
there's peanut butter right there. That's the one that Don Carson used, and
black glove. You see it on the right hand.
oh,
Sweetan is being kicked in front. Stomper and Carson going after Sweetan. Well, they've opened up some wounds on the head and the face of Bruiser Bob Sweetan. Carson is punching. The Stomper with the black
it looks
glove.
like Bob should do a better job of.
Jack Howell, the referee, trying to get things calmed down. He can't get the job done.
He's not doing a good job of trying to hide it. The fact that he's bleeding too, but Dick Slater, Mr. Unpredictable, Mr. Excitement, Dirty Dick Slater, the guy who would beat up Tampa Bay football players. Gosh, who was it? Uh,
They have really hurt Sweettown. Slater comes out to clear
I don't
the
think they're best
ring.
friends here.
And there you see Bruiser Bob Sweettown, the damage he suffered at the hands of the Mongolian Stomper and Don Carson. We'll be back with more of Southwest Championship Wrestling right after this.
And yes, I don't know if y'all hear that in the background. Hopefully not. Hopefully my little background noise suppressor works here. But yes, my neighbors are right now shooting off fireworks.
In the left corner, weighing in at 232 pounds, from Havana, Cuba, El Gran Apollo.
El Grand Apollo against Ron Cheatham, the referee, Jack Howe. Oh, I don't know.
So yes, this is El Gran Apollo, not to be confused with the El Gran Apollo that wrestled for TNA. Much taller, bigger dude than this guy is, but apparently this guy had a pretty good career too in Puerto Rico, of course, you know, in the Southwest.
Wild action here on Southwest Championship Wrestling.
Didn't get a whole lot about him, but Ron Cheatham here, he's a kind of perennial enhancement guy, wrestling a few territories as a
Referee Jack Howe asked for a break, and El Grand Apollo
no, just the neighbors. Oh, they are doing their fireworks show tonight. I thought they did theirs. I can't really tell because there's fireworks been going off all week.
Bouncing off the ropes. Ladies and gentlemen, Dick Slater.
I told you that Don Carson's got that black glove. I told you, now it came out right there. It came right out on Sweettown.
It sure did. They had that black glove.
So you probably got the city here doing theirs, and then everybody else doing the locals doing theirs. You got the official one, the Cedar Winder fireworks show, whatever. Then you have the neighbors shoot their own privately bought fireworks.
And that's the reason why I came in the ring.
Thank you very much, Dick Slater. Dick Slater out here, and boy, that black glove that we've been telling you about, well, we saw it here on Southwest Championship Wrestling today as the Mongolian Stomper and Don Carson brought it into the ring and used it.
Yeah, I got him. Oh, okay, cool. I'm definitely not one of them, obviously. Yeah, I had to make sure I get the volume down here before I get hit again. Because last week, even though I did the 1, 2, 3 countdown thing, and shared the link and whatever, they heard the music in the background, or the music from the video down in the background, and that's how they got me last week. But he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna sit right here and think about my life choices right now." That one bump didn't feel too good. And as you see here, I'm not much of a running guy, so we gotta slow this pace down. Alright, buddy, I think I'm ready now. Yeah, let's be friends. Ain't we supposed to shake? And that is trying to work on the bicep, tricuspids, OST, tricuspids. My bad. Shoots the half there, rolls them up. One, two. Hey, this is back when they mixed a little wrestling with wrestling, which I don't think that. I don't know. And yes, even though that Cheatham here they did use enhancement talent, you know, they were still trying to make it look as competitive as possible because you know uh, kind of give the fans you know uh, try to make it look good because it's like okay you beat this guy but who did you really beat? Uh, that's where fans really started catching on about oh we know who's gonna win here or we know who's gonna win here. Oh, yeah, it's going to the top rope. I do believe yeah cross body block one, two, three. That was ropes are a little loose there, so he didn't get a lot of height on that one, but but still looked good. Came right down with him, hooked the leg. A lot of people don't do that now. They do this, jump as high as they can and do the cross body block. The legs right there to the quicker than the hook. They usually just keep tumbling over and uh, pose and whatnot. Oh, we got the ladies now. We got Judy Martin. Yeah, I think it's Judy Martin. Oh, we talked about her a lot last week, didn't we? That's Miss Sherry Martel. Of course, this is pre AWA days here. She's still cutting her teeth, you know. Guess she's still kind of learning the ropes a little here. Like this is definitely pre AWA Women's World Champion run. Her feud with Kenny Devine over that championship. I think they exchanged it a couple times between the two. And of course, she would grow to become a sensational Queen Sherry, managing Macho Man Randy Savage. Of course, after she left the AWA, she went to WWF, pinned Fabulous Moolah, kept the title for a long time because she didn't really defend it that much, but was defeated by Rockin' Robin, I do believe. Excuse me. Judy Martin, she's definitely the veteran here. I don't know how long she had been wrestling at this time, but probably definitely a few. She got maybe a couple more years, 3 years on Sherry Martel here. Like I said, when she went to WWF, she became WWF Women's Champion and got into managing, and she was good at that. She was good character on the mic. She was over. Uh, she knew what her role was. I mean, She had to go in there and claw her man's eyes out, that's what she did. If she had to take a bump for her man, uh, she did. Oh, went for the well once too often. But yeah, she would manage, you know, Randy Savage managed to become Macho King Randy Savage. That's actually the sensational Queen Sherry. Because they didn't call it, of course, this being WWF, they didn't call her Sherry Martel. If they did, it was for a short time. They just call her Sensational Sherry. And of course, the Bruce Beefcake and feud with Savage, of course, they, Bruce Beefcake called her Scary Sherry, and that that caught on pretty quickly, and she fed into it and uh, gave the fans what they wanted. Got reactions to it, and of course, she became the manager of Shawn Michaels. Then after WWF, she came to WCW, managed Harlem Heat, or first managed Ric Flair first, then Harlem Heat. Yeah, that's off me. Double chicken wing, victory roll. It was a little sloppy to get there, but it looked good at the finish. So not a bad little women's match there. Sister Sherry with Harlem Heat. Yeah, I remember the magazines would uh give off rumors that her and Booker T were kind of messing around. But of course, uh oh yeah, when the famous Harlem Heat promo where uh Harlem Heat saying, "Hey, we want all the gold. So Hogan, we coming after you." Gosh, I remember watching on that pay per view. I was like, asking my buddies like, "Did Booker T really call Hulk Hogan the N word?" And of course, Southwest Wrestling they had oh wow, here's some legendary stuff here. Is this the first match between Lawler and Andy Kaufman? Or is that a young Jim Cornette right there taking pictures? Look behind the red corner post. I do believe that's a young Jim Cornette there's taking pictures. Of course, I'm not sure what it's been saying. Like I said, I get keeping the volume down low. Yeah, that looks like a young Jim Cornette's in there. Take up. Yep, this is the first match. So here's where Lawler's like, look, I give you the head here. Come here, or that didn't sound right. I'll let you. Jerry Lawler saying, I'll let you put me in a headlock. He released it. There you go. You got him now, Andy. He's got him. Lawler's probably about to tap right now. Just kidding. Bam. Supposedly now, I mean, Eddie Kaufman was a big wrestling fan, regardless, and uh, and he was kind of doing, or this little stage act, whatever. He was doing the intergender champion who would only wrestle women. Uh, there's a pile driver from Jerry Lawler, of course. In Memphis, the pile driver was illegal, so Andy Kaufman won by disqualification. Anyway, so when it was, they actually called Vince. I think it was Vince. I mean, Vince Senior was still pretty much calling shots, but uh, maybe Vince Junior would have done it. Who knows? But I don't know. I think Vince. I don't know if it was Vince Junior. Anyway, if Vince Junior was there, they were still kind of doing the real because Bob Backlund was the world champion and all that, so they had to keep wrestling, not bringing celebrities, especially for a wrestling match. And yes, if you're hit celebrity in a wrestling match, this is how you're supposed to have done it. But they did this. Anyway, I'm jumping around here too much. So anyway, he went with WWF trying to get angle started here, and they're like, no, we can't do that. And it was Bill Apter from Pro Wrestling Illustrated who knew, I think it was roommates or something like that. He said, look, or they lived in the same, something like that. And Kaufman told Apter, said, hey, WWF ain't biting on this. It's like, oh, I know who'll do it. Gave them, Apter gave him Jerry Lawler and Jerry Jarrett's number, or Jerry Jarrett's number really, and called them, and rest is history. Supposedly did not cash one of the paychecks. And that right there is, uh, they built, I think that's Tommy Lane from the Rock Roll RPMs going against Scott Casey. Scott Casey, another big star from the Southwest Territory. Also, mid-card star for World Class. I forgot what other territories he worked at. I think he's played mostly in Texas, but became a enhancement talent in the WWF in the mid to late 80s. I think a little bit of the 90s too. I think he had help training Harlem Heat, Booker T, and Stevie Ray, or just Booker, maybe just one of them. I think he did. I think he trained both of them, or had a hand in training Harlem Heat. Yeah, that's now I'm listed it now. I think that's professional. That's professional fireworks deal going there. Now, interesting thing about Tommy, or I think they call him Tommy Saxon here, uh, but would be known as Tommy Lane's part of Rock and Roll RPMs. In Central States, he wrestled as Tommy Rogers, and was a tag team partner of Mark Jannetty. They call themselves the Uptown Boys. So as far as the enhancement talents here, at least he was part of a tag team who would work other territories and uh, actually did stuff to draw a little money, or was in uh, top of the tag team card because RPNs would wrestle in Texas, would wrestle the Simpsons. Also of course, in Memphis, wrestled Jeff Jarrett, Billy Travis, countless other tag teams. Also wrestled in Puerto. I think it was Babyfaces in Puerto Rico. And of course, the other half of the Rock and Roll Prince was Mike Davis, a guy we watched. What was it last week for the Florida Championship Wrestling for Florida? But see, that was the beauty thing about territory days. You know, yeah, you might start off as a handsome talent, stuff like that, but you keep going from territory to territory, learn your craft pretty good, then maybe get put in a tag team or get change a gimmick or something like that, and and do stuff to help draw money and be one of the stars. In other words, oh well. So if that breaker ends it there, I figure it hit the bulldog or something like that. Now, if I am mistaken, was this did Tella Blanchard say they did their TV tapings at a old grocery store? Oh, there's Bill Ash, former junior heavyweight champion. His partner is I have no idea. Renee Boyer. Oh, Buddy Landell. I be dang. Before he started calling himself the Nature Boy. Buddy looking in great shape at the time. Yes, this is the pre uh before he dyed his hair, become blonde, became a nature boy. He was just a simple little white meat baby face here. What's his name? Frank Monty. Uh, vaguely remember that name. Oh, that did not look good. He must have seen the intro. Say, oh, I'll hit me a bunch of drop kicks here so I can be in the intro video. Oh, come on, ref! You can't allow that tag. There you go. Step in there. That's not how it works. There you go. See, it's little things like that to make referees look like they have some kind of authority in there. All right, here we go. Tag in the Buddy Landell here. And you talking about somebody who became talented. I mean, unfortunately, I forgot what Jim looked like, but still, I mean, Buddy Landell was very good, very entertaining, very good on the mic. Uh, maybe if he won that world title, he maybe he would have dropped that Nature Boy thing, but still, you know, carried on as Buddy Landell, a kind of like a Ric Flair clone or whatever. Did still done the ropes or whatever. Um, yeah, Buddy Landell was pretty smooth in that ring. I mean, he was. I want to say he was Barry Windham, Brad Armstrong smooth, but he was pretty good. He knew his character. He knew how to get over and stuff like that. So I mean, he's definitely a whole lot smoother than this Frank Monty guy. I mean, if anything, I know I made a cocaine joke earlier, but I should tell you kids. I mean, uh, leave them drugs alone. And if you go into the entertainment business, again, leave those drugs alone because you might think you're on top of the world, but that those drugs freaking can ruin everything. Yeah, that I mentioned the corkscrew elbow earlier. That Steve Regal did, but Buddy Landell was the original person I do believe that used the corkscrew elbow. But of course, he used the corkscrew elbow then the figure four because he was most time I seen him was him being the nature boy Buddy Landell. But he had an knack of getting in trouble too. So, uh, like I said, a few weeks ago I watched his interview. He was talking about he got fined more in Mid South than anybody. Uh, he said there was one time he was in the locker room. He took a shower. He's taking a shower. He came back out of the shower. There's a freaking naked woman in there, and here comes in, Grizzly Smith. That'll be a fine. And there was one time he was walking back in the ring, out of the ring through the crowd, and somebody handed him a fifth of Jack Daniels, and he laid it down and uh, took a shower, whatever. Then again, Grizzly Smith saw it again, and it's like, oh, that'd be, I think, I don't think $500, but that sounds good. Inside Cradle or a 2 count. It's actually not a bad match here. A lot of moving around. Not look at there, Buddy Lane clean house there with those atomic drops. Ash, you ain't the legal man in there. Uh oh, watch out. Uh oh, it's breaking down now. We got all four men in the ring. Of course, referee decides to make the babyface lead first. Double tag. Yep, that's true. I don't know. I mean, some people can handle it. I mean, I guess all drugs are kind of, uh, I guess, kind of like alcohol. I guess. I mean, some people can sit there and drink a beer or two, and they're good. They're good for the week, or good for the night, or whatever. Or drink one or two beers every day and be fine. Or just have that social drink, or whatever. But some people, they're like, if they buy a 12 pack of beer, if I got that 12 pack of beer, it's gonna get drunk that night by them. And I guess, I mean, even Buddy Landell was talking about, his cocaine use. He was saying, yeah, there's a lot, there's a lot of wrestlers who, wow, that was unique. Um, Flying head scissor takeover, and that did it. But anyway, it was talking about how, even with cocaine, people knew how to do a little bit, and that's it. And he said if he bought like he bought if he bought 8 ball of cocaine, I think think that's what he said. He had to snort all that cocaine that night, and he had mentioned that that's pretty much what cost him that angle where Ric Flair was. He was in Charlotte. They wanted him to fly to Atlanta the next morning or whatever, but he said, "No, nah, I'm just going to drive to Atlanta." So here he is in his car, snorting cocaine there, all the way down there. Gets there, gets to a hotel in Atlanta like 5 a.m. Crashes, and when it was time to get up, but he didn't want to get up because he was, crashing down from the cocaine. And here's, I think Black Bart trying to wake him up. Said, "Nah, here's my car keys. Go ahead." Uh, then Crockett bot, called him. Dusty called him, and pretty sure he said some bad things to him. So I just don't feel like coming in right now. Then when he finally did show up, Dusty's like, "All right, hand me the belt. You're fired." And that is Joe Blanchard there sitting there talking. I guess being where they are in Texas, I think this was the San Antonio territory, so uh, I think the Hispanic population was good or kind of big there too. So they had to have a Hispanic, commentator and a English uh, commentator kind of sit there and explain everything, ask questions. I will say a lot of people don't say anything too bad about uh, Joe Blanchard. Uh, say he was a decent payoff guy and stuff like that. Uh, Tully Blanchard, on the other hand, because I guess he was a prick and all that. Uh, so your commentators was Steve Stack, Pepito Cuco Rodriguez, Marty Martinez. I kind of like watching this. The executive producer, Joe Blanchard, which means he was a head booker, I guess. And he probably had another booker, but he had a booker, but he would make the final calls and stuff like that. Kind of like Bill Watts. He had his bookers like Buck Robley, uh, Bill Dundee, and whoever, Eddie Gilbert. But you know, uh, Bill Watts had the final say, or at least would say, "Look, this is the direction I want to go. Make it work." But yeah, not a bad little episode there of Southwest Championship Wrestling. I can see where people kind of dug into that. I say you got to see some legends there. You got to see the legendary Tully Blanchard, Gino Hernandez. Like I said, could have been a hell of a talent anywhere. If he had lived. And Buddy Landell, of course, he could have been top, at least one of the top stars. He's saying world champion, all that stuff, but or I guess he would have been a world champion for a small period till Ric Flair came back. Um, but at least he would have been a world champion. But after that, he could have been, you know, champion whenever, or maybe not a world champ. Maybe not got it back. He just drew that well. Then if it was a big draw, then somebody would put it back on him. Now would both those been top stars in WWF? Mm, um, mm, Probably the Intercontinental uh, scene. I mean, they probably would have faced Hulk. They wouldn't have headline at WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan or anything like that. They would headline maybe a house show with Hulk Hogan. Um, I, they could have runs as Intercontinental champions because that was the workhorse title at the time. Because you had Valentine, you had Morocco, you had uh, uh, Pedro Morales, you had Tito Santana. I already mentioned that. Randy Savage. Randy Savage was, he just had that larger than life persona. That's why he became a main event star. Uh, but he wasn't. He had a good build on him, but he was like 5'10", 5'11", or something like that for real. And but had a good build on him and worked well with Hogan. So that's how that. But after that, it was Mr. Perfect, and you had a couple of little transition champions like you know I think Kerry Von Erich had like a small little run. Traded with Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, Honky Tonk Man. Was probably one of the not gonna get no 5-star matches out of him, but his matches worked. He knew what needed to do. He bumped well. Uh, he knew how to get the heat. So that's the thing about the Honky Tonk Man, Ricky Steamboat. Except for Ricky Steamboat decided to you know go back home and watch his kid being born. That kind of sucked. Uh, let him give him a little bit of break, but um, countless others held that championship. Ultimate Warrior, okay, I get it. uh, Probably not the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time, but as far as work rate or anything like that, but yeah, and of course, like got to see Scott Casey. Uh, Scott Casey was pretty good at the time. Another rookie, Mike, uh, or Tommy Lane, um, who went on to become a Rock Roll RPM and all that. But so we definitely know now that I cannot get by with as far as sharing this stuff. So it's gonna be keep on doing um, this share the link type deal. It worked for a while, but it's ain't working no more. They're on me. They after to get me. Um, but yeah, what do you folks think? Maybe next week we'll watch some AWA. I think of which one here. Uh, I want to say 85 or 86, back when you had the Kurt Hennings and the Midnight Rockers and all that. Might go there. But yeah, so definitely check it out. AWA next week. A lot of people love AWA though. I uh, remember them doing the what was it? The Tale from the Territories from the AWA. I did a reminiscing video about that. And done a recap of the whole episode of not Dark Side, but Tales from the Territory. Um, but but yeah, I can do a lot of talking too. I gotta figure out what to talk about, especially classic wrestling. I don't know. It's just I see other channels are like able to. I just can't figure. I guess do some research. Kind of figure it out there and stuff like that. I don't know. I've seen a channel able to basically sit there and talk and watch a whole WWF show from '86. I'm like, okay, how do I get out of this? Uh, but yeah, do more talking. I'll talk through the whole thing. Kind of watch it, talk about it, talk about the people there. Um, yeah, that's my way cheating. Kind of think of some stuff to talk about. It's kind of like a whole today in wrestling history type deal. Go back to stuff I remember. Um, but what was I saying? But yeah, I definitely see. Of course, at one time, Southwest Championship Wrestling was on the USA Network. Uh, let's see. I forgot when they. So yes, and of course, after '85, it was purchased by Texas All Star. I don't know who that person was, but oh, okay, somebody does own it, but um, uh, in 2010, J Jadat or JADAT Sports Incorporated bought the footage of Southwest Championship Wrestling and uh, Texas All Star Wrestling from Ronnie Martinez. They have released Best of '80s Volume 1. Is one of the, yes, not owned by them. And 2021, JDAT Sports appointed Stream Go Media LLC as the exclusive distributor agents of both Southwest Championship Wrestling and Texas All Star footage. Footage from both appear on streaming service Wrestling Legends Network, built and operated by Stream Go Media LLC, launched in May 25, 2001 on Roku platform. I think I actually got that, but you gotta pay for it. Let's see. So the Southwest Championship Wrestling was paying USA Network $7,000 per week. Um, so Vince decided to pay a little bit more, but there was a particular match between Tully Blanchard and Bob Sweetpan, which USA refused to air, and it was, I guess, a bloody, very bloody match. I guess I've never seen it. Um, so what year was this? Oh, come on. Oh, so September 4th, 1983 is when WWF or yeah WWF officially uh, took over the USA or the USA time slot owned by Southwest Championship Wrestling. Of course, the show was WWF All American Wrestling. But I think if you go on go on YouTube, uh, there is some shoot interviews with Tully Blanchard. They kind of, the RF video shoot interview. I don't know if it's on here or not. I think he kind of goes in a little deeper. Uh, Go into detail how it kind of unfolded. And, but I think he basically said he just couldn't. They couldn't afford a. According to the Wikipedia page, it was $7,000 a week. So that would that's not good. That's a that's a lot of change there. trying to figure out what this other guy's name. The guy who's like the co-host of Storytime with Dutch Mantel. He's got the new show with Stevie Richard, the English guy. He's pretty good. He does shoot interviews too. I think he recently done a shoot interview with Tully Blanchard. Let's see if I can find it. It's called WSI Wrestling Shooter Interviews. Like I said, not sure if so far I don't see the one with our video, but I'll share the link here to the WSI interview. Like I said, the guy on there, he co-hosts the story time with Dutch Mantel. He did like a weekly podcast with Shane Douglas, but that kind of got canceled right now. Now he's doing one with Steve Richards. Looks like it might be pretty good. The one with Dutch Mantel is pretty good too. Very entertaining. Uh, but he's a good interviewer. I mean, um, I don't know where I have to sit there and kind of really rank them all now. You know, between kayfabe memories, art video. He's definitely better than Hannibal. Not saying all of Hannibal's stuff was bad. You know, some of his interviews is pretty good, but I don't think he's as nowhere near as good as interviewer as this guy. Oh, what else was I going to share? I was going to share my shit. Um, so if you're interested, here's my video of so there's that. If y'all want to check that out, share that with you guys and gals. And yes, that's a kind of my thing. I kind of do. Now, did I? So I gotta go back and watch. So I gotta do one on SummerSlam. I do believe. Did I do SummerSlam last year? Anyway, Uh, so yeah, like I said, next week we'll do a little AWA, talk about AWA. Maybe I figure, yeah, hire a producer. You might want to be my producer. I think I run all stuff to talk about. But ah, so anything else that was supposed to promise to share up for y'all? Yeah, that top link was is the shooting review with Tully Blanchard. Like I said, I haven't watched that one, but like I said, the guy doing the interview, he is a pretty good interviewer. So if you don't mention much about Southwest Championship Wrestling, uh, probably because it's been covered 100 times, so he probably didn't feel like need to cover it again. Uh, but dude does a pretty good job interviewing people. Uh, we should do more talking. Yeah, I do a lot of talking, but yeah, I'll figure out some more stuff to talk about. Um, on the next one. But anyway, but as far as this week, I think I'm going to call it a night this week. Getting a little stuffy, getting a little hot in here. I need to get the fan back on. Uh, and I think they're done with the fireworks. At least the city is. The city of Wander is. Uh, pretty sure the neighbors will be checking that out soon. So need to get well rested or get comfortable, get well rested, so I can probably go to sleep before they start doing that stuff. But like I said, before I go here, yes, I will apologize. Been a little lazy this week. Didn't get all the recaps in. Um, every Tuesday, I do a trivia show called Wrestling Trivia Tuesday, where I ask 5 questions all dealing with the sport of professional wrestling. Usually have those up on Tuesdays around 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, pre-record them, have them out on Monday, put it out or schedule it out next day on Tuesday. Usually, I do a WWE Raw recap show. Like I said, apologize, no recap show this week. But we'll get back on it next week, as well as AEW Dynamite recap show. And speaking of getting right back to it, next Thursday will be return to the Spot Show live stream with me, Ronald Ray. Yes, that is the original live stream show I do on every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Friday morning in Japan, and 5 a.m. Friday morning in India. And that's where we talk about the latest topics of what's going on in today's wrestling. But if you're not digging today's wrestling, I got the fix for you. It is this show right here, Wrestling Gold Friday Night, where we talk about the this date in wrestling history, go through all that. Also, we always do a watch along, but I guess my watch alongs are not uh, always get different topics and stuff like that. Yeah, there's always something to talk about. Then I'll be here all night. Then I'll be the cancellation of the show. Just kidding. Um, but anyway, like I said, we'll feature today in wrestling history and do a watch along, and that's how we get the subjects of stuff to talk about. Uh, Personalities and stuff like that. But anyway, yes, that's every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Saturday morning in Japan, and 5 a.m. Saturday morning in India. Um, and of course, tomorrow night. How about this? Well, we can't figure it out here. I could do a live stream of us. Is anybody going to watch the Money in the Bank match tomorrow? Cause see, I can do a live stream. I mean, I can't show it live, but I can talk about. I can watch it and talk about kind of like the watch along we have been doing with like Southwest stuff like that. If anybody's interested of me doing a live stream of the reaction and talking about uh, tomorrow night's Freeman Live event, Money in the Bank, I am open to do that. So let me know something in the comments or in the chat, and uh, and I'll think about it. Otherwise, I'll just cook me a steak and watch it and do a recap video the other day or the next day. Excuse me. Um, because I probably won't eat a steak, in front of you guys, because that'll be gross. Maybe I'll do me a steak tomorrow, or or a cheeseburger. Yeah. I was hungry as hell last week. Uh, anyway, like I said, that does it for this week's Wrestling Gold Friday night. Uh, check us out next week. Join us in the chat. And again, like I said, leave a comment in the comment section. Uh, anything as little as a hello is greatly appreciated. The likes, the follows, all that good stuff is greatly appreciated. Until next time, you folks have a good one. Have a safe rest of the holiday weekend. And have a good one and take it easy. There's out wins. Drop a like button, leave a comment. Also, be a champ and hit that subscribe button. You can also check me out on social media, Facebook at Ronald Ray, on X or Twitter is RPATRPTV46. Until next time.
So long from the peach state of Georgia.